Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Topdecked, the Topdeck Gwent Talkshow. My name is Jaggerous, and today we didn't have a patch. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a great evening.
Oh, we're back. Hey, everybody.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Well, anyway, welcome to the Topdeck Talk Show. Today, Swim and I are joined by OceanMud.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well.
And apparently Renaissance Panda, supposed to be Impetuous Panda.
Yeah, I don't know the name, what that's about, but I'll accept it. It's fine.
Apparently I'm an aspirant, whatever that
means.
Does
it seem like the sun is like, I don't have a light over there. I don't know how it's so bright on this side of my face. Maybe that's, all right, never mind. Keep going, but I don't know what that is. I have no idea why it's so bright on that side.
It's okay. You look lovely, OceanMud, so don't worry about it. Right. Tim, I hear you're time traveling these days.
Yeah, no, I've dabbled into it. It's it's a lot of fun. We caused like one or two paradoxes though.
One or two. That's okay. We can live with that. So today was meant to be the patch, but that has been delayed till tomorrow. So next week we can talk about the patch. But for today, we can speculate about the patch, and we can also chat about the end of the season, because that did happen yesterday. So, yes. What do we want to start on? What do you guys want to talk about first?
I mean, so right now, just in terms of the end of season, I think we can all talk about how we approached the end of season ladder. How many of us were able to get either of the avatars, or both, in terms of putting in the time. I'll start. I didn't do very well. I ended something like 400. I really wanted to end higher, but I was able to at least get both avatars, which I think is I'm kind of unhappy with how I did personally, given that I actually put a lot of time in.
I'll give you a C+ Swim. That's your grade.
I think it's worth pointing out, like, Swim is complaining about getting top 400. We currently have, like, 1,100 viewers. So, assuming all of these viewers placed in the top 1,100, you placed better than 600 of our viewers.
Well, I'm not.
They now think that you're a bit of a knob.
I'm not trying to be like that girl in high school who's like, I got an A-. Like,
yeah, that's
you know what I mean? I'm not trying to do that, but like, I did actually, like, I don't know. I put an effort in, and I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of people, and I'm curious, like, what you guys think about this as well. A lot of people, like, I was talking with Joe Snow about it as well, who was saying, like, it's just so awful climbing right now. Not just because, like, the meta feels bad, but because, like, games are often so much based on, like, your resources, like coin flip and starting hand, just because, like, there's a ton of dwarf mirrors, etc. And you can, of course, outplay. Like, that's always a potential, but there's more variance than normal. I'm curious if you guys would agree with that, because that's what Joe was kind of saying.
I think it's also like end of patch decks are very refined, so by that point there isn't that much like, oh, maybe my opponent's deck is just terrible, so I could get a win that way. It's more just like coin flip, your hand, what you draw, etc. So I think you feel it more when the meta's already like really settled at the end of the patch, pretty much.
You said, Swim, that you got top 400 or something like that. Did you try hard off stream, or was it all on stream as well?
No. I try harded at the start when I was like climbing from like. I mean, I think I started when I was playing like something kind of worse. I dipped down to like around 4,000, and I did like the first 200 on stream, and then after that I switched to off stream.
I'll tell you guys something. Swim is one of the scariest people to play against when he's off stream. The reason why is because the speed at which he plays. When you're on stream, you rope a little bit, you're talking to chat and stuff like that. But when you're off stream, every single play is like instantaneous.
Yeah.
And so when you're in my position, I'm on stream, like taking my time, and then I just see you go zoop. It's very intimidating.
It makes you take a lot longer when you're streaming. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just weird, but I like lose focus and like, I look at chat. And it's...
Right. So with me personally, I got like top 300 on both accounts. I didn't really try like too hard. I know that sounds kind of elitist when I say stuff like that, but on my main account, I like fell out. I was like 1,100 or something, and I was having internet issues the past 2 days, so I didn't even try hard. But I went off stream. and I played like 10 games or something, and I got my main up to like top 300. And so I just thought to myself, like you, Swim, whenever you're playing offline, you just go super quick. It feels so much more natural to play whenever you're off stream.
It does.
You're just starting going into the zone. So I can really appreciate that.
And a lot of people ask me like why I climb off stream, because this isn't the first time I've done it either, but it really does make you like just take a lot longer. There's just so many more distractions, and like there's like actual tangible pressure as well. Like I don't know, it can make you like play slower and worse.
And don't get me wrong, chat's amazing. Chat has gotten me out of a lot of situations. Like they help me so much. And I didn't realize some of the situations they put me in that they have to get me out of in the first place.
When you're climbing, you have the power of like 500 people behind you. Like, you know, it's great.
What about you, Panda? How'd you fare?
I didn't play a game of ranked this season, so I just play pro ladder mostly.
And,
so
like the state of the game right now is that's the story of honestly a good amount of like top players. Like even like a lot of pro ladder players kind of are skipping the season or are not taking the time to climb super high.
Well, I mean, I haven't played ranked for the past like 3 months. It's just I just play pro ladder instead of ranked, so I don't like play both. It's so too much otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
See, I like Panda here because Swim's like, oh, I only got top 400. And then OceanMud's like, me too. I only got top 300 on 2 accounts. And I'm just like, I got 4K. And then was like, screw this, I'm done.
Did you get Vernon Roche?
No, I couldn't.
He's your boy.
I love Vernon Roche, but like usually I kind of faff around when I stream. So because I play a lot of like dumb stuff, like I'll play Cursed for fun or like movement. So then climbing is really slow, and then it gets to the end of the season. I'm like, oh crap! I've actually got to, get some MMR now. Should probably try and grind. Then I played about 10 games with dwarves, hit 4K, and was like, right, I can't physically play any more of this game.
But if you had played like 14 games of dwarfs, you would have.
Then I would have probably gotten Vernon Roche. Yeah, that's true. But like, I think the current situation
Jaggers, go ahead.
Is really disappointing because I think that just the length of the season is just a bit too short in order for the people who want to try and put in the hours to put in the hours. Because, I mean, with us, we can freely play quite a lot of Gwent. Like, I think I played like 140, 200, between 150 and 200 games probably of ranked quite comfortably. But that's quite a lot of games per day if you average it out over the course of a month. And a lot of people don't have that sort of time. So then what does that mean? If you can't invest that many games, you can't get these rewards? I don't know. I feel like at the moment the changes have made it such that, I mean, how many people even got 400, 500? Like 50?
It really crept up on me personally. I don't know about you guys, but it crept up on me that the season was ending. It feels like literally just the other day that the last season was ending and the ladder reset, and Consume kind of fell off the face of the earth. Like that feels super recent to me.
I like it. I like the fact that it's 1 month personally. And I also like the fact that there weren't that many GMs. GMs is supposed to be the highest level possible. Yeah. You're having all these guys just like
prestige,
It's supposed. I didn't get GM. Like, it's my own fault. But like I think I could have if I tried a little bit harder, but we'll leave that for another time. But anyway, I just had to put that out there. But anyway, like having hundreds, thousands of people in the top rank possible. Come on now. Like, I'm okay with it being 1 month. Does that mean the reward system doesn't need revamping? Maybe. But I'm okay with it being 1 month and the amount of GMs that we had personally.
Honestly,
I think
I'm kind of almost not sure how I feel about it. It seems very jarring to me that it's so soon, but I kind of want to give it time. I feel like I feel like a lot of people will distinctively dislike it just because it does seem like a big change. Like I said, it crept up on me, but I'd like to give it time to see if I get used to it. We'll see.
I mean, the way I see it is that, let's say we got about 50 GMs, right? 50 GMs, and like, is GM meant to be what, the 1%? Because if GM is the 1%, then that suggests that there's only 5,000 players. Like, it depends on how you have to kind of work out what percentage of your player base, what top percentage should be GM. That's kind of how you want to have it. Do you want to have it the 0.1%? Do you want to have it the 1%? Do you want to have it the 2%? Like, where does that need to be? And I guess CDPR just kind of let this happen and was like, oh, we'll kind of let it happen and see. But I feel like, considering they also used, Letho and Roche, who are some of the more popular characters in The Witcher, as rewards, it kind of seemed a bit scummy. And I think if you're going to test it, what you should do is shorten the season and change the MMR gain, and then see how that turns out. Don't change it huge, but this was clearly going to be a small percentage of people. There was clearly going to be a challenge to getting to those ranks, sure. But, if you have 10% of people leaving Pro Ladder in a month and 50 people joining, or 100 people joining if it's 2 months of ladder, that's going to be an issue. And I mean, yes, the Pro Ladder does need to get thinned out, but to the point, if you're only adding 100 people and you're taking out 10%, eventually you're going to have a situation where it's just Panda sitting waiting for a match to pop, and then Swim's like, oh, maybe I'll play a Pro Ladder game today, and then that's how you get your matches. And then you have the issue that win trading could become a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should distribute the rewards more than anything, like lower down the ranks, I think. Like Grandmaster, the reward is getting into Pro Ladder. I don't think it should be so much like, oh, you only get this avatar if you're like the top 50 players in the game. It's kind of elitist in that way. But I agree with OceanMud. I think it should be something that not everyone gets, not because of the reward, like the avatar reward, but more the prestige, like Swim said, of getting, saying you're like, oh, I'm Legend of Hearthstone, or oh, I'm Grandmaster in Gwent. Like it should mean something, not just, oh, I play a little dwarves here and there, and I'm Grandmaster. Yeah, sure. Like it's just not something I think everyone should get to be honest.
Sorry, Jagger, something you said, Jagger, struck me to heart. You were talking about the Letho and the Vernon Roche avatar not being attained by everybody. Picture this. Picture the midwinter patch when Dwarfs and Skellige, and then they come out with the Wild Hunt borders, and they're saying that you have to try to get get the Wild Hunt borders. I would challenge anybody to find an Eredin player with the Wild Hunt King border. Eredin was at its weakest just about with that Wild Hunt border. So, like, I totally feel you. The people that didn't get the Letho and the Vernon Roche, I didn't get Wild Hunt King. Fortunately, on my Smurf, I got the top 100 with it. But my main actually fell out once they extended the season. It wasn't top 100 too, but once the season was extended by 2 days, it fell out. And so it's kind of embarrassing.
Wait, I thought you were number 77.
On my Smurf, right? But my main was top 100 as well.
Okay.
And that's the one that matters. The Smurf doesn't matter. What am I going to do with my Smurf? Am I going to change my Smurf
make it your main, man.
Yeah, I don't even feel like it counts as a Smurf at this point, realistically.
Thank goodness that they came out with the Monster Faction Challenge. Now at least I can have an excuse and say, yeah, I'm repping the Monster Faction. I did my 30 wins on my main, so now I'm having that border. But yeah, so I feel everybody that didn't get the Vernon Roche. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of Reddit posts that were very disappointed, which of course is understandable. I'm sure like Jaggerous was saying, they're very popular and iconic people.
Because I would say the issue with what you're saying is I agree that Grandmaster should be difficult to attain and not everyone should get it. But I think the people who should get it, it should be based off of skill. And I think at the moment it's not so much based off of skill as off of time.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very heavily biased towards time at the moment because the way that ranked works, you do need above a certain win rate to climb. But you climb so slowly that even if you are someone who maybe averages like a 60, 70% win rate, because you're only gaining 3 or 4 MMR, from like if you win, you get 17. If you lose, you get 25. So if you win 2 and lose 1, you're only gaining about 10 MMR. At which point to climb up from say 4K up to 4,500, it requires a lot of games, and that's kind of where the issue comes in because I think if you look at the top of the pro ladder, the vast majority of people who are sitting in Grandmaster, for example, have played something like 500 odd games of Gwent in a month.
That is such an interesting point, Jaggers. I have a stat for you that's just up your alley. I think that's incredible that you said that. On my main account, I actually played 132 wins and 68 losses. That's a 66% win rate. And I ended up at 43.75. So that's 200 games I played, and with the 66% win rate, and I didn't hit GM with it. So that's pretty good in my mind. So I'm right up there with you. I forgot about it when you said it, but you just reminded me. The points, you're absolutely right about it being whoever has the most games invested in it, kind of. So that's a great point.
Yeah, I think so as well. So ladder-wise aside, we also have the patch dropping, and we did get the news that the patch would be basically confirmed for tomorrow. They did tweet that out, and while it was going to be today, we can rest assured that it will be tomorrow. Now, this has a few implications. Sorry, just that double gulp gets me every time. So I think that with the patch dropping, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts, because Jaggerous and I have talked about it since we've had this PTR up for a bit. but I'd be curious on your guys' thoughts, Panda and OceanMud, about the patch changes and how much do you think it will change? And a little bonus question for OceanMud specifically, how are you feeling about Eredin in this new patch? For those of you who don't know, this man is literally Eredin himself.
You can start if you want to, Panda. I'm going to have to think about the Eredin question.
I think overall the changes were good. They were just mostly like stat changes, like 1 or 2 points here and there, like just basic changes that had to be done with like dwarves specifically. I don't know if enforcers are getting changed in the end or not. I believe they are.
I think they confirmed it. It was like a soft confirmation.
Yeah. So I think in general, like it's not going to be anything like revamping the game completely. It's not going to be like the biggest patch in Gwent's history, but it's a patch that was necessary to keep the game healthy, I think, at a competitive level, like at the very highest level, and not have like dwarves dominating the whole meta. So it's going to be good, but nothing too crazy, I guess, is happening. Commander's Run is a big change because it's been such a solid card for so much of Gwent's history, but other than that, it's mostly just a few points here and there. Elven Scout was getting changed as well to 1 point, which we were speaking to OceanMud before. He thinks it's not enough. I think maybe they could do it so she only pulls like a specific subset of Squirtle cards, like Tribe, like Elves maybe, or like not Dwarves, for example, and just Elves. I don't know. I think more could be done with that card. But it's hard to balance a card that's already at 1 point, at 1 stat without changing its ability completely. So it's tough, really. But overall, I think, they're positive changes for sure.
I mean, the biggest question is exactly how much do we expect this to affect the meta? That's the big question, and a lot of people are debating about this. Because on the surface, a lot of people are saying, they're just nerfing dwarfs. We're not going to be in for too much different. But a lot of people are also saying that dwarfs were really oppressive, not because necessarily only that they were so strong, but because they had the kind of playstyle that kept a lot of things down. They were very high tempo, and they kind of smash so much value in a way that's kind of so uncounterable that they keep these decks like Scorch effects down, keep these decks like Hensel multiple Scorch style decks, even OceanMud's own Eredin style decks. And that the fact that they are being removed, even though there's not a lot of changes, could actually open up the meta a lot. What do you feel like you find yourself on the spectrum, Panda? Do you think that there's going to be like a big meta shift or maybe a minor one in line with the changes?
I think a minor one, but compared to what there was before, it's still going to be very noticeable. And like you said, I think the fact that like Scorch decks, there was like pretty much every deck but Dwarves that was good in the last patch had a lot of like very big units. And the Scorch was very punishing, but then against Dwarves it wouldn't be as good, so it wasn't as effective. And with Dwarves kind of out of the picture, I think those decks will be quite popular again, and they'll do well. Hensel will be a bit better as well in general, but I think it's going to be a minor change in terms of like if you look at it like from outside, like if you're not playing Gwent like all of last patch, you won't really notice it that much. But if you've been playing a lot of Gwent, you'll definitely notice a big shift in the meta with Dwarves not being as dominant.
With the SK nerf, Restore got nerfed, right? So now the target's doomed.
Yes.
I'm super happy about that. I'm fine with that. How many times did they have to nerf it before they realized it was too strong? Like they nerfed it. First it was pulling Doragary, and then it was pulling Bears, and now it's doomed. I mean,
yeah. And even before that, it had the interaction with the pirate captain as well when it was just return and discard.
Good point. Are people going to play Restore? I don't even know if people would play Restore anymore. I don't. Isn't it just a 19-point card?
Even after all that, I mean, 19-point silver is it's not bad, right? Like
maybe. I guess we'll have to see. So there was that. I have to tell you guys something. In regards to Eredin, I think it might even be weaker now. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to be weaker now, though. And that's saying something because it's already weak. I'll give you a couple of reasons why. So Agitator got nerfed to 1, right?
Yes.
Elven Scout got nerfed to 1. You know what I like to do? I like to damage things by 2. And so you know what I can't do? I can't damage things by 2 if they're at 1. And I know you're thinking, but it's the same point damage. Not really, because let's say I have an Iris, right? And I hit an Iris and it goes 3 to 1. Now they can block my Iris by putting more 1 targets in the Frost or something. Now that might seem like, that's not going to happen too often or something, but it does happen. With the Scout change, Panda, you said off stream, that like we were talking off stream about it being too strong. Yeah, I think it's too strong. I think Scoia'tael Bronze are good enough as they are, and not only that, but you can pick between 3 of them. So I think Elven Scout is still going to be run at 1. It's almost like the Harpy change. You guys remember how Harpies were changed like 4 or 5 times and people were still running them. They just didn't stop.
Yeah.
It's because it's that good of a card. I say all the time on stream, I think Elven Scout is one of the best cards in the game. Well, I've been on this channel, or I've done this one time before. Do you guys remember what I said the other card I thought was the best card in the game? I said Witch Hunter, the NR card that kept resetting stuff and kept pulling out. I'm going on a limb here. Elven Scout is pretty strong, being able to pull all those tech cards. So in that regard, I think it's strong. I know I'm talking a whole bunch, but let me say one more thing while I'm at it. The Siri Nova nerf, I don't think it affects Siri Nova decks that much that use it as a finisher. I don't think it affects it that much. I think what it affects is my deck when I use it as a proactive round 2. Because let me set up a quick scenario for you guys. I just want to make sure my cam wasn't freezing. So I set up Frost, right?
Yeah.
So I'm setting up a Hound, low tempo, right? Eredin Hound, I can't do. I can't go into Eredin Hound because it's still too low tempo. So what I have to do in that situation is I have to play Siri Nova in order to buffer enough points to where I can Eredin Hound. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now losing 3 points in that situation is very important because I might not be able to Eredin Hound. But using it as a finisher, 22 points, basically 25 points in my mind. One more thing, since I said one more thing before, one more thing is the Monster's Nest nerf. I don't think that affects Zoom that much. I think it affects Eredin because I need, you know what I use it for? I use it for the Drowner. I don't even use it for the Barbagazi that often. I don't use it for the Arrakis Behemoth. I use it for the Drowner because I need that extra 3 points to buffer to stay ahead. But now I can't do that with just +1. So in conclusion, I'm mad because bad is sad. So there you go.
Jaggerous, you're not cool story bobbing.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I was enjoying the sound of OceanMud's story. It was great. I think that Restore will still see play. I think Restore is really good as a turn round 2 to basically force your opponent into giving you card advantage back, like playing that big 19-point play on top of your carryover means that very often your opponent can't catch you up in one card. So they have to play a couple and they have to invest, and that gives you options there. I agree with OceanMud that I think the nerf to Elven Scout probably won't be, stop it from seeing play. Similarly with Siri Nova. The one thing I did want to add is that I think I feel like dwarves may still see play, right? Because I mean they've nerfed Tremors, so Tremors is gone, but you can still do a Glace into Double Thunder, which is pretty decent play, and gives you removal. Also, with Yorva's Meditation, force 2 enemies on the same row to duel, but you have Dwarven Merc, so you could put enemies on the same row.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's still not necessarily that bad. But even then, you have cards like Shiru and other cards that will fit into that deck. So I'm just wondering if we'll actually this will secretly be everyone will be like, yeah, Dwarfs is dead, and then we'll get to the patch, and it'll be like the Dwarfs is still there.
I mean, we've had that experience before. It's happened a couple times with Dagon as well in the day.
Yeah. So
I didn't even think Dwarfs was that strong, to be honest. I don't think Dwarfs was that strong. I think Skellige is stronger than Dwarfs, and I think Spies is stronger than Dwarfs. Personally, I think now Ethne version, I didn't say that. The Brewer version, Ethne, I think is pretty strong, but I think Skellige, at least against Eredin, as well as NG, is actually stronger than Dwarfs.
Yeah, I think that's actually not necessarily unfair. I do think that they're kind of about the same at that point. Eithne Dwarfs is much stronger than Brewer Dwarfs, and Brewer definitely did kind of fall off. I know a couple people use it at high levels, but I don't think that's too far-fetched, honestly.
Eithne Dwarfs was gross because you could triple command us all.
I think Dwarfs is just easy to play, which is what made it so popular. This patch, it's not the strongest deck the game's ever had, I think. I mean in cards... In the top 100, it had basically the same play rate as Spy Nilfgaard, for example. Yeah. But below that, it really falls off. Sorry. Cards like Ithlinne or Jaggerous Meditation are, obviously very overtuned compared to any patch, golds in any patch, because they can pull off things that they shouldn't be able to pull off. But in general, the deck strength, it's similar to the tier 1 deck in other patches. It's just a lot easier to play than Spies and even Skellige, I think, in other decks. So that's what
agree.
makes it so dominating in the current meta.
I understand a lot of the nerfs. The Commander's Horn nerf, I understand. 20 points to what did it go down to 15? That's a lot of nerf. That is a lot of nerf.
It's a lot of nerf.
I think it's really devastating for Northern Realms. Like, I almost feel like Commander's Horn would be better as a Northern Realms exclusive card. Because the reason you have to nerf Commander's Horn is because of Ethne, right? Because then any special card, if you have the option of playing it twice in a game, if you have a 20-point special card, suddenly it's a 40-point special card because she can just replay it. 45 if you include her body. And then if you have a Glace, then you can pinch it, and then it's another, however many points. But I think, realistically, losing Horn is going to be really detrimental to Northern Realms. And Northern Realms, like that was kind of a key card for them with the whole tactics pull with John Natalis. And because they line units up anyway because of crewmen. So it works really well for them. And I feel like in some ways it would have been better if they just were like, you know what, this is no longer going to be available for everyone. This is just for Northern Realms. And then that deals with the whole Goetel issue.
Or it could have been made doomed as well, which deals with both Ithne and Iglis. Because really the biggest problem with Horn, off the top, a lot of people throw out the numbers. Natalis is 26 points, Ithne is 25, Outlaw is 22. And, it's easy to throw out the numbers, but the biggest problem is that the Horn's downside is supposed to be you have to do this kind of mini-quest, right? You can't always play it. You have to align the units, which means you can't play it too early in any given round. You can't play it in too short of round 3. Those are actually really, really stringent requirements. The problem with Ithne, out of all the options, Ithne specifically, is because it's reusing it after it was used the first time. It, unlike any of the other ones, kind of allows you to defy that requirement. You just use it again and don't care.
The other problem is because Dwarf's now got Rezzing, so then you can go Hattori, Barclay, Agitator, Dwarven Merc or whatever. That's 4 bodies on the board. So that's 1 card, 4 bodies. And then you go Ithne, Horn, that's 5 bodies and 2 plays. It's ridiculous. That's where the issue lay was the fact that you could get so many bodies in so few turns that even if you only had 2 or 3 cards left in your hand, Commander's Horn was still very valid in Squirtle.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. Like if for example Northern Realms had some kind of card that was kind of like Elven Scout or Sleeve Driver in terms of like that power level and 2 bodies, and of course Northern Realms can play cards with 2 bodies, like they have the Temerian package stuff. But if they had a card like that with better distribution and like less cost of playing it, you'd see like the Commander's Horn on Northern Realms being even more enabled.
How many points is Nautilus into Commander's Horn?
26.
Come on, guys. Come on. I'm talking about the old version. Is this the old version? Or the new version?
Well, this is the old version. The new version would be now 21.
21 gold, thins of silver. Come on. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not 26, but it's 21. I mean, that's a good amount of points there. So yeah, if it's doomed, maybe meet halfway, make it 17, 18 points or something, if that's even possible. But I'm glad that it got nerfed at least a little bit because.
Do you think Horn will see play in this form?
Yeah, of course, sure. Yeah, 100%. I think it will see play. Does NR? I don't see many NR. Panda and Pro Ladder, does NR run Commander's Horn? Do you see that at all? I put you on the spot.
Right. Hensel? You mean Hensel was running it for a bit? Yeah, but. In general, I mean, there's like 2 versions of Hensel. One runs like Natalis and Horn and stuff, but that's kind of risky because if they're playing Bork and they end up with like round 3, and I don't know if that caught on too much. I know Atikov brought it to the Open. I think it was pretty sure in his Hensel list. But other than that, I think it's not like a must.
I just realized something. I only play Eredin. What am I talking about? I have no idea if they're going to run it. Can I take back what I was saying? I don't even know if they're running it now. So how am I going to predict that they're going to run it in the future? So yeah, but I'm if they're going to nerf Commander's Horn, I understand they nerfed it, and they look like they were doing it with Monster's Nest as well because they want to do it with tutor effects. So as long as they're being consistent with their ideals, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and
OceanMud, you only play Eredin? Oh, I know.
Well, that's actually, I have 18 games on NR, so I guess maybe I do know what I'm talking about after all.
What's wrong with you, OceanMud? I thought you were like the one true monster.
How many non-Eredin games do you have in total?
18. Just 18 NR. It's because it was the tutorial.
My God.
I thought you had to play every faction during the tutorial. It turns out you don't. So yeah. So after the 18 games, I noticed you didn't have to do that, so I switched back.
OceanMud, this is why you should make your Smurf your main, because then you can have 0.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I don't want to hide where I was. I admit it. I say if I wasn't an Eredin player, I'd probably be a Radovid player or something. I have great respect for Radovid as a leader. I don't know why.
Oh, so even if Eredin didn't exist, you would still just choose one leader and play it and nothing else?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just who I am.
The reason he only plays Eredin is because Eredin is a starter monster leader. Like, if the starter monster leader was a different leader, then, like, clearly he'd have to only play that one.
I'm so glad it was Eredin, because I'm having so much fun as Eredin. Like, it's so much fun to not play against another Eredin. Like, when you're doing dwarf matchups, it has to be so frustrating, because the only thing you have to go is the coin and carry over whatnot.
Yeah.
When you're playing something that, like Eredin, you're never going against another Eredin. So you can do whatever you want to. You can outplay people. So I understand why people are frustrated. I have a lot higher potential to outplay than other people because of the leader that was very fortunate to be at the beginning of the
I feel like if you spent the last however many months literally playing one leader, you probably have the advantage in outplaying people who play more than 18 games of Northern Realms.
It's in the perfect spot as well between like not being played too much and still being somewhat good.
Yeah,
so it's like I need like that the one leader where it's like right in the middle of that.
Although I mean that hopefully it won't be in that spot for like all so much longer.
If it gets too popular, I'm going to be upset. Because here's the deal: is people have a false sense of security right now with Elven Scout. They think, oh, it'll always pull me Brigade, Dryhead Brigade, so I never have to run Weather Clear because it'll do it. So if there's more Eredins, they might say, oh, actually, I should run Ida instead. I can't guarantee this. So right now, I'm in kind of a decent spot. But if Eredin sees more play, it might actually make it worse.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Are you like the Eredin hipster? You're like, oh no, not too many people playing Eredin. Like, I played Eredin when he was bad, you know?
I am kind of like that. That's true. Because I'll tell you something. When I see Wild Hunt King borders on Nilfgaard and when I see Wild Hunt King borders on Scoia'tael, it's like you want to have that pride yourself. You're like,
yeah.
It's like, take that border off right now. I have extra pride whenever I beat those people too that have it. So yeah, I love Eredin.
How do you feel about him getting a surname? Now he's like Eredin Break Glass or something.
Yeah, Break Glass.
I saw that. I saw the meme. I saw the Eredin Break the Glass. It was funny. It was cool. I don't understand it because I never played the Witcher games, but it's cool, I guess.
I have a question though, going back for you, OceanMud. Sure. What tutorial were you playing that was 18 games long?
This has turned into an OceanMud Eredin interview.
My tutorial was like 10 minutes long. What 18-game tutorial did you play with Northern Realms?
That's a great question. You know what?
I missed that piece of content. Was that like a special event?
It was so long ago. If you want to know, if we're talking about my pride with Eredin, I did not play a single midwinter game like this. Not the midwinter, but I didn't play a single Halloween special game. You know, when they're giving you rewards, because I didn't play which one's the one with the Mahakamel Festival? I didn't play a single Mahakamel Festival game because it used dwarves.
Oh nothing. My god!
I didn't
really?
That is dedication to the cause.
I tried half a game with the dwarf and I couldn't do it. It was like eating a food that like is just you're just like, I can't do this. So I had to stop.
And he'll never play any of the dude. What about Thronebreaker? You're just not gonna play Thronebreaker?
Nah.
What about draft mode? Like, what if you don't get Eredin as your leader?
Oh,
like,
great point.
He'll just back out. He'll throw away his gold.
I'm like, sorry, I'm gonna have to just just quit. Can't play this. Like, you just start and never finish. Like, I guess you start one. You start one draft mode, and then if you get to the point where you don't get Eredin, you just don't play it. So you just like leave it.
That's actually a great point. If we ever get draft mode, I'm quasi-confident that we'll get draft mode. But if we ever get draft mode, I actually will play different leaders. I never even thought about that.
Wait, you will?
Sure. I'm pretty sure I will. I don't know 100%, but if Eredin's a choice, I'll choose Eredin. But come on. Like, now I'm wasting gold. Or...
you don't.
You do have your limit.
Like, you probably have every single Monsters card premium at this point.
You know what? That's actually another point, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jaggerous. I think they're doing that, like, 50% off premium thing or whatever. I just made my entire deck premium on both accounts. So, and I never did premium before. So I don't know if there's some, like, you know, blowback or whatever where they can give me, like, some of my premium dust back, but... I would appreciate it, CDPR.
I feel like at this point, CDPR, like, you know, we never really even have to try and balance Eredin or test him, because as soon as we release a patch, OceanMud will test Eredin and find out exactly like the sweet spot and exactly where he is on the power curve.
We didn't
rest assured. So
we didn't talk about this that much. But passing on the blue coin, I never realized how strong that was.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of those secrets that you're not supposed to tell people. You're not supposed to tell people to pass on the blue coin because it like breaks the game or something like that. But I'll tell you guys, I was watching a stream. I'm a Twitch viewer before a Twitch streamer, in my opinion. I watch some streamers after they're done, they never touch Twitch. That's all they're done. But like I watch hours of Twitch, and I saw Excellent. Do you guys know Excellent, the Russian streamer? He was playing Eredin, and he was passing on the blue coin. I asked him, I said, "Excellent, are you?" And he speaks English. I said, "Excellent, are you passing on everything?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm basically passing on everything." As soon as I did that, my win rate shot straight up.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I watched him a lot. He's an excellent player.
So I'm just imagining this situation where OceanMud's like, "Excellent, why do you pass on blue coin?" And he just replies in Russian, and you're like, you had to specify. Oh, and then he replied in English. It was all good.
The amazing thing is, he was playing different cards too, because it really helps. I get inspiration from other people. He was playing Hellstorm and Jotun, Jotun. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw you running Jotun the other day,
and it was brilliant. That he was doing it. Like I would never run Hellstorm without him doing it, and so you can tell it's gaining a lot of popularity because of the big numbers that Skellige and Dwarfs are running. But if you don't go to other streams, you might not see stuff like that. So
yeah.
It's really cool if you go to different streams and get inspiration from other people.
That's true. I think it's the reason a lot of people watch your stream if they want to learn to play Eredin and Swim stream in general, because they tend to learn a lot.
I am still mortified that you would break your anything other than Eredin fast for Arena sooner than you would for Thronebreaker. This man is literally not gonna play Thronebreaker, guys.
Well, it's single player, so
wait,
I mean,
what? What if there's like monsters cards and you can only get them if you play Thronebreaker?
Oh no!
What do you do?
Is that possible? Can they do that?
Yeah, they might have like expansion link cards and like
they can.
Nah, they won't do that.
The expansion to get them.
Nah, they wouldn't do something like that. No,
Richard was like, no, I'd craft them. It's fine, guys.
I would. If they'd have to be craftable. Like I'm gonna take off the crazy hat for a second. They'd make it craftable, so I'm just gonna craft
crazy
it.
hat for a second.
But yeah, Arena. I don't mind playing a different faction for Arena because I don't think that counts. Arena doesn't
you can
count.
They announced, they leaked in the data mining or whatever that you would be able to like draft interfaction cards. So even if you pick another leader, you can still play like Wild Hunt stuff, you know. So
what did you get what if you get a choice for like 5 dwarves or 3 dwarves or whatever, however many cards there are? Would you just implode? If you have to pick a dwarf in Arena?
You know, people, like I said, I have no faction. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I have no faction loyalty. I said it. But like,
dude, are you serious?
This is why, if you want to know why I play Eredin, the reason why I play Eredin is because consistency. It's like, here's why people get upset. People get upset when they play because they don't know what to do. And so when they lose, they don't know why they lost. When I play Eredin, I know what to do. I know why I lost. And if I don't, Chad always tells me why I lost. So I don't mind. So that's why I play Eredin, for the consistency. I love knowing exactly what to do in any situation. In draft, it's all out the window because you don't know what you're getting anyway, right? So there's no reason to pick Eredin over anything else. But I can guarantee you, if I see Eredin, I'll pick Eredin. I promise.
Oh God.
Yeah, I agree with you. I always end up beating Eredin consistently. So
OceanMud, I want to be just like you when I grow up.
I love that this is just like posting hypotheticals to OceanMud. Like, but what if like you were gonna die and the only option was to not play Eredin? Like, would you die? Like, this is just basically what this is.
I play the other faction. I mean, of course I play. I don't want to die. I mean, come on, it's not that important to me. I'll play another faction.
If he can't die, how can he play more Eredin?
I thought this is like Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones. Never mind. Forget it. Go on. Something else. I was going to say 100.
If you come back as a member of the Wild Hunt, would you do it? See, like these are the kind of things you got to wonder. I'm just like...
What I really appreciate though is I appreciate CDPR taking a hard look at Wild Hunt, because right now Wild Hunt is not viable. I'm going on a limb and I'm saying that. Now, is a Siri Nova variant viable? I think so, because I've done fairly well with it. But I'm talking about a pure blood Wild Hunt archetype. So
like with Drakkars even.
With Drakkars and stuff like that. They have a lot of loose ends right now, and I look forward to them tying up those loose ends with the archetypes. Death Wish, Wild Hunt. Is there any? Can you guys think of any more that I'm missing? Maybe elves or something like that. Maybe they have enough of those. I don't know. But
Moonlight as well, right?
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
vampires.
Cursed.
Yeah, vampires.
Cursed, vampires, tie all those
And
synergies up.
the
to make it-
insectoid cursed monsters hybrid using Ruin.
I think if we add up all those archetypes together, they can make a pretty good one.
Oh man, Jakars
personal
are really fun if you play like a fleet deck with Necro Warriors and Jakars. The problem is like you have to play a lot of boats to actually get points, and people out tempo you like crazy. But I played this deck. Someone suggested this deck to me, and so I played it. And you basically just duplicate your Jakars, and then you do everything that you possibly can to play them. So you have like Slizzards to pull them, and you have Wild Hunt Navigators to pull them. And very, 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 very occasionally you win, and it feels the best. But mostly you just lose terribly, and it's really depressing.
Yeah.
But I want Jakars to be good because Jakar decks are really fun, and they use Eredin as their leader.
That's also a positive as well. So yeah, I challenge CDPR right now. If you're listening, the create cards are great. Let's tie up the loose ends with the archetypes. You know what? If you have to make a create card that maybe can tie in at the same time, then it's bonus points. I don't know. Just spitballing here. But yeah, I would love to see more archetypes that are more fleshed out. Personally.
Sounds good. Anyway, we should move on.
What if there was a God? This would be like impossible to balance. But what if there was like a create card that was like create a unit with the same tag as your leader or something like that? That would be impossible to balance. But I mean, something kind of similar to that is interesting.
Yeah, I already gave him
in terms of supporting
ideas.
Archetypes.
I told him, I said, come up with a Wild Hunt portal. I said, Wild Hunt portal. It copies the last Wild Hunt unit you played on the board. Done. That's all you got to do. Why? Because it's a portal. Didn't Wild Hunts have portals or something they break through? And you can do your Drakars. So they play one Drakar. Oh, they killed it. Oh, I just Wild Hunt portal to play another Drakar. You see what I'm saying? It's that type of like synergy that I want to see. And it's not broken. It might be broken. I don't know. But that's what the PTR is for, right? Give me something to test out. Oh, by the way, I think I already mentioned this. I didn't play the PTR because of the changes. If they do PTR, can they do all the changes at once, like the Enforcer? Because I didn't feel any reason to play PTR because of the Enforcers still being
here's the thing. They're tracking the data on the PTR, right, OceanMud? So like you play PTR, you play Eredin, and you just throw all your games. You play like the worst deck possible. You're in for a buff, my friend.
I mean, isn't the PTR with all the changes just the new patch, kind of?
They said right. They said we're thinking about changing it, right? And then they knew they were going to change it in the first place, so might as well change it and see what happens. I feel like it was a week worth of just like PTR or whatever, I feel like it was tainted. I felt it was kind of poisoned because we don't really know how the cards fit in because they knew they were going to change Enforcer anyway. Yeah. Well, we don't know if they're going to change it, but anyways.
But I mean, you can't demand the PTR to be like, the perfect state of the next patch already. Then there's no point in having the PTR. It's kind of like if you're going into that, you're getting, here, play this kind of new version of Gwent for a little bit. But it's not perfect, but that's what you pay for getting into that a week earlier. And I think people are pretty happy with that.
Imagine having a PTR that's exactly the same as the patch. Like, what a silly idea. I don't know if anyone would ever do that.
I like your logic, though, Panda.
We don't joke about that, Jaggerous. It's too soon.
Too soon. Been a month and a half. Is that too soon? But we've had another PTR. Now it's fine.
I mean, it might be the same if it's so perfectly balanced that nothing has to change. But I guess some things like the Enforcers and other stuff will change from the PTR to when it releases.
Yeah, Berger said last week that some of them, like Enforcers, were getting looked at.
Yeah, and so we know there's other changes as well. Like he was saying, Monster's Nest would probably boost by 1, for example, or something like that. And I feel probably in OceanMud's camp. I assume you still feel like it's kind of sucky yet boost by 1 as opposed to boost by 3.
I won't run it. I refuse. I won't run the card. Probably not.
Are you like boycotting Monster's Nest?
What's that? One more time?
You boycotting it because they nerfed it by like 1
No,
point.
it's probably just too weak because
Drowner's already tenuous enough.
Drowners are, what? Good point. They need to boost Drowner now that I think about it because it's 9 and 11, right?
Yeah.
Once it's together, that's too weak. It needs to be 12 at least. It needs to be 8 and then do 2 and then do 4. 12 is fine because it's conditional anyway to do that in there. So just give me the extra point and we'll call it even.
I think that honestly would be okay.
But isn't the benefit of Monster's Nest also the fact that you get choice? You know, you can go for a Drowner, you can go for a Ghoul,
or like
go for a Rot Fiend and pretend like you're going to eat it.
Yeah, let me just pull a Foglet. For the extended BM. It's best when it's tutored from
Arrakis.
What is it? Is it Tribute that pulls it? Which one pulls it?
Arrakis isn't necessarily bad.
Yeah, no, I remember OceanMud. You also, I think both of us had the same idea way back in the day with the Monster's Nest into Arrakis. Like literally, because I remember you had that in one of your decks as well, right?
Yeah, it's hyper thin. It's for
hyper thin.
it's for and you want to know something else? I also tried out a Nova deck with Recon and Arrakis.
Yeah.
Just
that was an underrated combo.
Maybe that was a little too troll. But yeah, I think Arrakis is a pretty good combination with Monster's Nest. Now a little bit less so, but I used it with my Yennefer deck.
Yeah. I think the thing with Monster's Nest is that basically Monster Silvers are just bad. And that was like the good one. So I think that's why people are offended by it. Like the whole Nithril change, for example. Why isn't Nithril just like damage based on the number of Wild Hunt units in your starting deck, for example? Like, why didn't they just make him like Assassin?
Well, even if he was in that case, now I assume OceanMud will be able to elaborate better than I could, but I think the design of the card is already kind of flawed for what you want Eredin Silver support to have. What do you think, OceanMud?
I think that's a great point. Think about this scenario. So what do you usually do whenever you start out a game, right? You start out with, now in a Blood Moon deck, you'd obviously do Blood Moon, but there's no proactive play. You don't have a Ruin, you don't have a Cranmar to boost your units first, right? Exactly. There's no first play. You can't do Rider because you have to Frost in the Rider lane. So you just do well, you'd be wasting a Rider then. So you start with the Frost, right?
Or you
start with the
Moonlight.
We're talking about old OceanMud. Not new Ocean. All right, so in old OceanMud, you would play a Frost to combo with the Frost to try to get the tempo, right? I lost my train of thought. What were we even talking about?
Silver and Nithril.
Nithrils.
Oh, Nithril, right? Thank you. All right, so you play. Wow, you saved me there, Jaggerous. I appreciate it. So you start with the Wild Hunt Hound, right? So basically, that's one Wild Hunt unit out of your hand. The point I'm trying to get at is you actually have to use the Wild Hunt units before you can use the Nithril if you're going first. So Nithril's actually getting weaker when you're trying to build up your turn.
Yeah.
So it's counterintuitive. So what Jaggerous was saying about making it in your starter deck, brilliant. I think that's a great idea.
And but he's also reactive as well, right? He gives you a removal option in a deck that feels like, at least with the Monster's Nest like concept, you didn't as much need the removal. Like you have to spend the first few turns setting up your weathers as well, right? I mean, it seems to me
that's a great idea.
Yeah. It seems to me that Nithril, if anything, and maybe they could introduce a new card instead of having this be Nithril, but if anything, what Eredin needs is two things. It needs a proactive empty board play and maybe like a round 3 finisher.
That's exactly what I told someone at CDPR. I said, Nova kind of gives it to me. You know what I mean? We need something like Nova that is not, obviously I'd have different critiques, and something like a starting turnaround one, like a Ruin, like a Cranmer or something like that. But you're absolutely right about Nithril. Because isn't Nithril like Striga or something like that? Aren't they like basically...
Aeromancer.
Well, I mean, come on. You guys, they're creative. They can come up with something. But you're absolutely right about how we need a proactive play round 1.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it to them to figure out.
I like how this has just devolved into Eredin the talk show.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not complaining.
I'm okay with this. But we should move on and talk about T-Glow a little bit.
Oh, T-Glow.
Yeah, or Topdeck, the Gwentman Legacy Open, also known as T-Glow.
I don't know about T-Glow.
Who came up with that name?
Yeah, we haven't decided.
It's like if you read what we are meant to talk about.
Well, yeah, you read it. You don't say it out loud.
Trademark it.
TGLO. No, T-Glow.
I take it.
TGLO.
Topdeck, a Gwentleman story.
T-Jello. There you go.
T-Glow. Anyway, so T-Glow is this weekend, and if you want to sign up, you still can. Do we have a link? Somebody link.
So basically, this is the Gwentleman's Legacy Open. Now, in 2017, last year, we had 8 Gentlemen's Open tournaments, and that was before we changed to Topdeck. And basically, we are taking the 8 champions of those tournaments, seeding them very high up for the final 16, and we're going to have an open tournament this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, where you can play. If you make it to the top 8, then you and 7 others will be against the 8 TGO champions for this effective final battle. It's actually a very exciting culmination to the Gentlemen's Open series that we did in 2017.
Yeah,
I personally will be participating. What about you guys?
In Tiglo.
Are you guys not coming?
I will be participating as a caster.
Oh God. Really? You're not playing in it? You're not about the Gwent life?
I have a busy weekend. I would want to play it. It's the only tournament I can play, so it's kind of like, what I prepare for, I guess you could say, but I have a very, very busy weekend. It's a sad state of affairs.
Which makes it easier if you want to win, and you can sign up today on this challenge link that I posted in chat. And we'll also have it in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. Oh man, look at me.
OceanMud, what about playing in tournaments? Can you play in tournaments? Because you have to bring different decks.
You know what? Is it Conquest format? Where it's like best 3 out of 5 or something like that.
It's going to be Conquest format for the open part of the bracket and before day 2.
Can I love your guys' tournaments. I love that you guys put on tournaments. In my mind, the perfect. I'm supposed to pivot into your guys' tournament. In my mind, the perfect tournament is King of the Hill. Everybody brings their best deck.
Oh God!
No sideboard, no nothing. If you just play the deck that you can play the best, and we just fight it out.
Like best of 3.
Yeah. No best of 3s. No. It's best of 1.
It's one game.
Oh,
and if you
one.
If you lose, you can never play a tournament again. You're eliminated for life.
It's Swiss format. So you go through the winners, right? It's Swiss format, and then it's just best of 1. You just play one game with your best deck, and so King of the Hill.
You would be able to. This is a tournament designed to cater to the individuals that only ever play one deck ever.
Hardcore one deck people. It's not for like people that are well versed in every deck or whatever. This is just for the King of the Hill format, the best of the best. You bring your A game, I'll bring my A game, and we'll see who lands on top.
And remember, OceanMud, one of the rules: no weather clears allowed. You can't bring any other. It's kind of bugged in the game, so you can't bring them
unless it's going to create.
It'll make it a smoother tournament.
Then I'm okay with it. Panda, I like you. You should be one of the moderators there. I think.
Yeah,
great.
Sure.
So going back to Tiglo.
Oh right. I'd be a cheerleader. For that.
It's worth pointing out that although it currently says there's 256 of 256 slots filled, often people sign up and then don't make it. So just because you would go onto the waiting list doesn't mean that you won't be able to compete in not quite Eredin King of the Hill, but the next best thing realistically.
When you say they don't make it, it sounds like you're saying people are dying before the tournament comes up. Like they just don't.
Well, their choice was like never play Eredin again or die.
There's no downside to just like signing up. A lot of people sign up and then maybe plans get in the way. They back out. They
get really drunk on Friday night.
They had to climb like 2 days prior, and they're just sick of Gwent. They really wanted that Vernon Roche avatar.
Patch gets delayed, and they don't want to play dwarfs. Like who knows?
And speaking of which, it's actually going to be a bit exciting because the patch is getting delayed. The Open is going to be literally within 24 hours of the patch, which means it's going to be a bit of a scramble. People will have to, make their best decks. And it's true that not a huge amount will be changed, but from a meta perspective, we'll have to see A, what survives in Scoia'tael, and B, like what the best decks look like that might have been being kept down by dwarfs a bit.
It is. It's very exciting. And if you want to see the excitement of the finals and also have nothing better to do on Valentine's Day, then do we have the cast for you? I believe it starts at 8:30 CET on this channel, Topdeck Gwent, Valentine's Day, so 14th of February.
We're still doing Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still a thing. Like, I need something to do on Valentine's Day, Swim. Don't take this away from me.
Soundboard and I don't celebrate conventional holidays.
Also, what do you
Valentine's Day for you.
She's also not here, so I'm going to be alone for Valentine's Day.
Oh, well, you won't be alone because you'll be joined by Twitch chat and also Panda, myself, and a bunch of other people who will be hosting and casting these games. So if you do want to watch a fantastic Gwent tournament, then tune into Tiglo on Wednesday, 14th of February at 8:30 CET here at Topdeck Gwent. That's our Twitch channel.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's everything.
I'm also excited to see the top 8 from other tournaments, being there in day 2, for example. I think it's going to be really cool as well. Having that reward for people that have been playing and, winning tournaments in Gwent for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool to see as well. And like Swim said, I mean, the meta is not going to change like drastically. It's not like a completely new patch with new cards, but there's still going to be a bit of a shakeup. And there should be like some changes where, people have to figure out like what are the best decks to bring to tournaments. And there's only going to be a 1-day notice, so you can't really test and ladder too much. So it's going to be fun to see for sure.
Yep.
I love that. I love the fact that it's 24 hours from the patch to the tournament. That's what I want to see. I want to see people that are innovative, that really bring new things. Because enough is enough. We don't have to see a dwarf versus a dwarf and SK versus spies. Let's see someone like really shake things up with the different point values and like just take it by storm. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, Unseen Elder 5 strength, you can, do all sorts of crazy.
Commander's Horn. I want to see someone win with Commander's Horn, so everybody can be like, "Oh my God, Commander's Horn is still strong" or something like that. That's what I want to see.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be like a new tournament you're gonna bring in, OceanMud, like Speed Gwent. Like every patch you set up a tournament like 3 hours after and see who wins. Is that gonna be like a CDPR should hire you to run just King of the Hill, different tournament variations for opens. Think about it.
You know what, Panda? You're coming up with such great ideas yourself. I think I have some competition.
Anyway,
we
last thing
should
to mention.
I'm sorry.
Very quickly about T-Glow is just, as you said, we have 8 people seeded from previous tournaments. So if you want to compete with Mago, Crokies, Slaventus, Vaish, Gwent to Town, Vishra, and Meisling, and actually Red Raim didn't win a Gwentleman Open, but Mago won 2, and Red Raim was the runner-up.
Exactly.
So he's like consolation prize, but if they'll qualify for the. They automatically get seeded, and then 8 people will get seeded against them, and then we'll see who wins. So
brilliant. Richard's a really good player, in my opinion.
Because they get seeded, it means you actually have an easier time getting into the top 8 because you don't have to play against them until day 2. So there will actually be more slots going into day 2, just because these players who often make it to day 2, like almost every time they actually participate in these tournaments, will not be playing in day 1. And they'll be competing for the $300 prize pool. Anyway, we should be able to take things to viewer questions for a few minutes now. So if any of you guys have any questions about OceanMud or Eredin or like tournament formats that could support it.
Or Panda's here too, Jaggerous. It's not the Ocean Show, but yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and type it out message in chat tagging at Topdeck Gwent. We'll see about whatever we can answer. You guys just call out whatever you have in mind. How do you think the summoning circle change will affect the meta? Question number 1. Well, it pretty much will cease being played outside of perhaps Cursed NR. I mean, do we think it's going to have like meta implications beyond that? It hurts Nilfgaard a little bit because of Yennefer Enchantress, but a decent amount of decks were running it already.
I think the decoy change and the summoning circle change are good because it basically means, you have equal chance of drawing your spy as they do. And it no longer becomes a thing of, well, I drew my spy. Oh, but they drew summoning circle, so it doesn't matter that I drew my spy. Like, it makes it a bit more down to chance than just down to teching cards. And honestly, playing PTR and someone not realizing that decoy didn't work on spy anymore was the best thing that I think I've ever experienced with Gwent, because they basically take the 13 points that you gave them, turn it into a 15 and give them back to you.
Yeah.
So it's like a negative 28-point play. It's pretty fun. And I'm pretty sure there'll be people who don't realize that this is a thing after this patch. So you can experience this on Live Clan. This is gonna be like, it's really fun.
You just said something that scared me, Jaggerous. It actually did make me a little nervous what you just said. You said that everyone has an equal chance to draw the spy. I didn't think about it until just now. Aren't there cards that can tutor out spies? And so, like, Broover, right? Can't him pull a spy from their own deck?
There's double cross.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking faction cards. That's actually a great point too. I didn't even think about that. So it makes me nervous because I actually don't have the same amount of chance to pull a spy as them. Because they do have those cards that can automatically pull them. So I think that's going to be a very interesting dynamic to see how often their spy is actually crucial to the game. if I don't draw it.
Yeah, it's possible that cards like Brewer and Heim could actually be slightly more incentivized by this.
And Francesca can find it.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. That's also a great point.
Someone asked in chat, when are you guys organizing a Gwent World Cup tournament between nationalities? That'd be really cool, I think.
Golan's going to win. Me and Croaky's got this.
That would be really, really cool to see, Swim. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea. I know that we have a lot of concepts for stuff we want to do in tournaments in the future, in, maybe later in 2018, maybe 2019, as, we grow as an organization and are able to do more. And I think that's something that I'd like to see sometime down the road.
I think it would be cool. The problem, honestly, at the moment is a lot of these ideas, like, you want to incentivize people to play, it's good to have pricing, but we are going to have limited pricing. So at the moment, we put all of our pricing towards open. So like TGLO, for example, and previously the Gwent Opens, that was where we kind of focused our pricing, because it's harder to convince people to play in longer format tournaments when the only option is glory. Although I'm pretty sure if it was like, you've got to bring glory to your faction leader, then maybe OceanMud would show us the way.
Yeah. What I recommend is CDPR. They need to sponsor some more stuff. They need to give us some more dust. I'm not talking about 200 dust, 300 dust. I'm talking about 10,000 dust. You have to make this worthy of it. You know what I mean? Like make the tournaments worth it. That way people will sign up. If it's 200 dust, I don't know. My show's on. You know what I mean? But if it's 10,000 dust, then I can't guarantee it, but I might play a different faction. Who knows? Like I So yeah,
OceanMud's ready to get dusty.
He'll consider it.
And combo with the 50% off for Lunar. Holy moly! So yeah.
So someone asked about whether it's okay for Iris to stay the same and Commander's Horn is the one that gets nerfed.
Great question.
When basically Caretaker is low key.
Great question.
Yeah, I mean, that's somewhat true as well. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of fair. They had kind of similar concepts where both of them are kind of good only in 2 decks. In fact, it's 2 completely different decks. Iris being good in Monsters and Nilfgaard, and Commander Thorn being good in Northern Realms and Scoia'tael. Both of them were limited to 2 decks. They have a similar amount of value, and Caretaker and Ithne are very similar in how they operate with that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think Iris is counterable, more easily counterable than Commander's Horn. Like Commander's Horn, yes, you can counter it by killing their units, but when you have a lot of unit chains, that becomes difficult. Whereas Iris, unless they've set up Frost with Wild Hunt Rider, they can't just, or they have 2 enforcers, they can't instantly kill it. So then you have a chance to react, which means that it having as many points as it does is, I would say, less of an issue.
Trickier to set up, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I think the important thing to consider, and a lot of people are going to like reactively say, well, of course, Commander Thorn is better. But I think largely right now that's because of the better factions that it finds itself in, most notably Scoia'tael, right? Like it's kind of easy to look at Iris versus Commander Thorn and have the instant, kind of knee-jerk, well, of course it's just better in Ithne. But in reality, if the better faction happened to be Eredin as opposed to dwarfs, then the problem could actually see some sort of reversal and people could be complaining about the opposite. It's important to consider that it's also about like the factions and the archetypes that these are even in.
I mean, if Iris was doomed, I wouldn't lose any sleep. I think that's also a viable solution to the Caretaker stuff. If that becomes a problem, but like you said, Swim, it's not a problem right now because it's obviously a strong play in Eredin, but with Eredin not being, extremely strong, it doesn't seem very relevant to the meta because no one's really seeing that combo too much. And when it happens, it's because it's, making up for other not so good plays. So it doesn't affect the game as much.
Yeah.
The thing also is, in Eredin, like realistically, if you've played Iris once in a round, that should put you up ahead that you don't need to play it twice. And then trying to set it up a second time on a different round, you need Frost again, you need Wild Hunt Riders again, or Drowners again. Like it requires a lot of setup to double play. So even with Caretaker, you also have to draw Caretaker and everything that you want for Iris the turn that you want to play her. So she's like, I think she requires so much setup that it's okay in terms of where she is and the fact that she's currently.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, I know it's somewhat of an unpopular opinion, but I think Horn didn't need more than the Doom tag for the Ithne and Echolais reasons. And in the same vein, yeah, Jaggerous is right. It is definitely slightly harder to set up for, a bit more value. But yeah, I think that it doesn't necessarily need a change, except possibly the removal, possibly the addition of the Doom tag, but I'm not even sure I would say that's necessary.
Yeah. In regards to Iris, I think it's a crutch for Eredin right now. I think it's the only thing that's holding Eredin up is the Iris. I think without Iris, you're in a horrible spot. And I'm not talking about one Iris. I'm talking about even if you do 2 Irises in one turn, you're not in an amazing spot. Like, because now Iris is actually worse now. Why? Because I'm probably not going to be running Summoning Circle.
Exactly.
So I won't be able to even use Iris more than twice. And in order to do that, I'm having to use a gold as well. And I have to have that set up. So I think that's the big difference between that and Commander's Horn. And like Jaggerous was mentioning, the counterability. It's not the easiest thing to counter if someone has Frost and Rider up. But once you start taking away that, it's a lot easier than Commander Horn. So I think Iris is in a fine spot. And if it does need a Doom tag, I think it would be in the future when Eredin is brought to its full glory, so to speak.
And I don't think that's going to be.
We are all eagerly awaiting when that day comes. Anyway, that is going to be all the time we have for this week's episode of Topdecked, featuring the man himself, Eredin, and of course our lovely other guest, Panda. Panda, next time we have you on, you have to be more prepared. You have to create this, like, you know, this persona, this crazy, like, you know, only play
Unseen Elder.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what can I do with
vampire
the
leader?
name?
I'm ready.
The name they gave me is just a bad name to start things off, so I just couldn't build off it. Look at OceanMud's name. He has a much cooler name than me.
Well, I didn't create this. So, I mean, like, yeah. I didn't. And all right, I'm not going to say the joke, but there's a joke related to my name. So if you know that joke related to my name, then it's not. The name's not all it's cracked up to be. I'll tell you that right now. But like, I didn't create this. It just became who I was. You know what I mean? It's just somehow I felt very honored to be able to champion this, like this type of respect that you guys give me. And I have all the respect for you guys as well. So it feels very great to be in your guys' presence right now. Thank you for having me.
Exactly. Like OceanMud, he earned the title of anal legend. Like, you can't just like give that to yourself. You got to earn
it. Can I say one more thing, right quick, if you don't mind? Sure. This is in regards to my stream. You guys probably would have given me a shout out, able to shout out anyway.
Hey man, you can start. Here, go.
All right, great. See this great transition, guys? Yeah, anyway, so before, if you haven't been in my stream, I have something called On Join event. And so what happens is whenever subs come in, their names are automatically said. And so what I realized later on was that for lurkers, it creates kind of a disadvantage because some people just want to lurk and they don't want to have their presence known. So I just want to let you guys know I am changing that from on join to on speak. So any lurkers out there that are subs, then you won't be called out unless you say something in chat. It's a voice line. So I just want to let you know, as I'm hearing what you're saying, I'm taking the feedback, and I'm just trying to make the stream as great as possible. So thank you guys again for having me.
Yeah, OceanMud himself has a very, very legendary stream. If you guys haven't checked it out at least once, you are missing out dearly.
So if I made an account called Anel Legend and then subscribed to you, then every time I came in chat and said something, it would say Anel Legend.
Well, it would say it the first time you come in for the day. It can't be like the first time you come in, the first time you
speak.
But
once per day, that's enough. That's enough.
It would say, hey, Anal Legend, welcome back, friend. That's what it would say.
What if you close the stream and open it up again?
Nope. It's per my bot. So if I close my bot and open it, it'll redo it again. But if my bot's open, then you only get it once until I close my bot and open it back up.
But you can make like 100 accounts and then just.
Oh my god!
Well, that's
yeah,
that's 100 subs right there. I'd be okay with that.
All right, let's do it.
Go ahead.
I'll see you soon.
Anyway, Panda, do you have any shout outs or closing mentions you would like?
Just a pleasure to be here. Like OceanMud said, once again, it's always fun, and glad I could join you guys today.
Yay!
Jaggerous.
I gotta shout someone out in chat. I'm gonna shout out. I don't know if it's like Polish W where it's like a V. It's either Sylvan SC or Silwan SC. That's because they asked to be shouted out, and I forgot that I shout people out. but they asked like 10 minutes ago or something. And I noticed because I read chat. So shout outs to Sylvan, and also shout outs to Lurtz, who does
as always,
does the production side of things. So he's the one who does all of the graphics and makes us all look good on screen. And plays music occasionally. Like Lurtz is all behind the scenes. Also, he has lots of Lego, and that makes him cool.
Keep that in mind, kids. So I would like to give a shout out to our Top Deck boys, Shu Plays, Joe Snow, and True Dawn, who do the Grand Master Plan. It's a different podcast that you can check out in 3 days from now. They do theirs on Sundays at the same time. You can see them there, and they focus a lot more on like the competitive, more so aspects of the game, breaking down tournaments and whatnot. Anyway, we will see you for this week, everyone. This is where we do our little goodbye. Bye. We'll see you guys next week.